Let's have a nice welcome for Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller, please. It's good to have you both with us. I have to admit to being an unabashed fan of the work of these fellows, and I want to give you some indication of some of the songs that they have created. Legendary hits like Hound Dog, right? Kansas City, Jailhouse Rock, Yakety Yak, Charlie Brown. You actually wrote the lyric, walks in the classroom cool and slow, who calls the English teacher Daddy-O? You wrote those words.
Yes.
I love that song. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, really. Now look, for every person in the audience here, because I know we have some people who are interested in music and everybody watching, what's the #1 thing you say to somebody who wants to get a song published these days? They think they got a good song, a good tune on a cassette. What should they do?
You can't say anything. You have to play them the record. A demo of some kind.
And get to the right person to play, play that demo.
Yeah, you take it to Kool and the Gang if you want to hit.
Yeah, for sure. Kool and the Gang will be with us later on. They've had gold albums for sure. How did you guys meet? And it's such an interesting background. I think you started writing this hard rock stuff for basically black artists, right?
No, we started writing blues.
Blues?
Yeah, rock came later. We're rhythm and blues writers. And when Presley came on the scene, they started calling it rock and roll, and as Mr. Bishop earlier spoke about these cross hybrids of styles, right? You started getting a cross-pollination of influence from R&B, right? Country music, right? And city, you know, big band jazz. And these things came together and they created this sort of
an amalgam.
Yeah.
But they both called rock
Alan Freed
rock
gave
and
it a
roll.
name.
He gave it the name rock and roll.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about your background. So, did you essentially, I'd say, when you got out of high school, what did you want to do when you got out of high school? Did you want to be in show business?
We were writing, I was writing when I was in high school.
Writing music when
Started
you
writing
lyrics.
Yeah. Yeah, we wrote, I think we wrote our first songs together when we were about, I was 17.
We were 17.
Yeah.
So you started writing, and who were the people who influenced you so that at this point when you were in high school that you were blues nuts?
Little Richard.
Well, actually, I didn't hear Little Richard until a couple of years later, but Jimmy Witherspoon was singing at the time, Charles Brown.
Muddy Waters, Willie Maybon, Little Walter.
So
Lucky Miller's
These
band.
are all black artists. When a guy like Presley came along,
Only
right?
black artists.
Yeah, they were only black artists.
Right.
Did you think that white artists could essentially do this stuff?
No.
Not until
We still
I heard
don't.
him.
You knew you could write. You still don't. You still don't, huh? But tell me why.
Well, in the early days, we really felt that this was special music, and you had to have special chops and a special sensitivity to do it right. Like, I know the next question is, what were you two guys writing it, right?
Well, I am a little curious about that. I mean, about the background and the kind of music you were producing. I mean, it's a very interesting cross-cultural pollination, right? For two white guys to do this.
But we
true.
love that.
You are white guys, right?
Sometimes.
I don't know.
So no, I had to check. Who knows, you know? You don't ask, you don't know. I don't know how you think of yourselves, but I mean,
When we
this
go
is-
to the bank, we're white guys.
I figured this. Woo. No, at any rate, so tell me about it. Tell me about this.
About what?
This phenomenon of of creating so many hits, so many great original blues hits for black artists. And I
we
mean,
were
I
in
mean
love
this
with-
in the most
We
pure
loved the
sense.
blues.
You loved it.
And what we
Yeah.
started out to do was to emulate the things that we loved the most and the people that we loved the most. I mean, we had a lot of other influences and things that we had liked in music before we met and found our meeting ground, which was really the blues.
And Mike was
black
essentially
artists.
jazz blues oriented.
I love jazz.
And I was more country, Delta, blues oriented. But we found a meeting ground, which was the blues, 8-bar, 12-bar blues phrase. It was where we came together and began writing these simple blues songs.
Can you just give me an example of what that is? When
Yeah,
you say
yeah,
a 12-bar blues phrase, what that sounds like? I mean, just the basis of it.
Well,
Some
it's-
real
it-
ugly one. She wasn't built for power. She wasn't built for speed.
This is the first song you ever wrote.
Oh, but she was built for comfort, Dad, and that's all a good man needs. It's real ugly.
Ugly woman. I really do. I like it. And I like you guys a lot.
That's a
gotta
few
tell
of the 12.
I was in like 8th grade, 9th grade, and I really didn't listen to music much, and all of a sudden this stuff of yours came out of the Coasters and was coming out of Elvis Presley, and it just turned me on. I mean, it was a time of my life when, I mean, you're responsible for some of the biggest early hits of the 50s, and you've gone all the way through. Remember the song, Is That All There Is? Peggy Lee hit? Yeah. That's right.
That's kind of a blues.
That's right. It's beautiful stuff. Tell me about
It's not far from the blues.
It's not far from the blues, but the lyric, it's a great lyric.
Thank you.
It's a great lyric. People can identify that because you have this feeling sometimes, you do the greatest thing in life. Is that all there is? That's all that comes out of it. Tell me about the first time you met Elvis Presley and how he impressed you. That was a long time ago, right?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Where were you and who introduced you to Presley and what did he say to you and what did...
Stoller's got the memory.
We met him in a recording studio, as I recall. I think it was, oh yeah, Jailhouse Rock. They were doing the film. And
so he had done Hound Dog first, right?
Oh yeah.
And you didn't meet him at that point?
No,
he didn't know him. He'd covered Big Mama Thornton's record.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Right. And he didn't have the original record on that. Big Mama Thornton made that record in 51, 52.
52.
Right.
Yeah. What is this, 2?
52.
Is that the Q? Forget the Q. All right, go ahead. So, any rate, you met Presley on the set or in the recording?
No, in the recording studio in Los Angeles. We lived out there then, and we had written 3 or 4 songs for the film, and they asked us to come in and to meet him and to work with him, and that's what we did. Yeah.
So what was his response to you guys? I mean, as fellows who had written Hound Dog, which was, I mean, a gigantic hit for Presley, how did he act?
Very casual, very businesslike. We wanted to get down to work in the studio, had new records to make, right? And very affable cat. I don't know, it's hard. He's such a legend, and there's such a mythology about Presley. To talk about him as sort of a human being is difficult, but like he struck me as, I don't know, it's like a garage mechanic, you know? I mean, he's a very, you know, down-home, loose corner cat, you know? And he was very serious about, you know, making his records. And there you are, the clock's going around the studio, so you don't have time to,
so we went
chat,
to it.
You know?
I mean, did you socialize much with him at all over the years?
Never.
Never, no.
I spent a little time with him because I was in the film. I think they asked Jerry to come and be the piano player in the film, Jailhouse Rock, and he had to go to the dentist.
They wanted me to be the piano player. And I said,
why didn't they ask your partner to be the piano player?
Well, I said, I'm not a piano player. They said, I said, my partner plays the piano. They said, yeah, but you look like a piano player.
Oh, I had a beard at the time, and maybe they made me take it off.
Oh, I can understand a beard in an Elvis Presley movie. That wouldn't be good. How about some of the other, like the Coasters, for example? I mean, you had tremendous success with the Coasters.
Yeah.
Let's see, Yakety Yak, right?
Charlie Brown, Along Came Jones, Little Egypt, Searching.
Now, again, can you just demonstrate just the basis of where the blues is in the Coasters? Because by the time the Coasters came out...
Well, Searching's a blues. It's like
Searching straight through
elongated blues, but it's a blues. It's just
well, I've been a searching everywhere. Oh, you know I've been searching. Searching everywhere. So way.
Don't go away.
Northwest mountain. You know my whole life through. Loving you. Just loving you.
Jerry Leiber, Mike Stoller, some of their songs. Here they are, still with us. I had a lot of fun with this book. It's a combination of a lot of the lyrics, a lot of memories. Baby, That Was Rock and Roll, the introduction by a terrific writer, John Lahr, text by Robert Palmer, and it's the story of the legendary, and you guys are so humble. I don't see big egos coming off you guys, and you really are legendary songwriters of rock and roll. And so I encourage people to get this book.
Oh, yes. Run out and buy the book.
What are you up to now? What are you doing these days?
Well, a couple of projects. We're working on a Broadway piece. Hopefully it'll be together in 18 months. And
takes a long time, right?
Yeah, forever.
What's the music what kind of music is going to be? It's got to be blues.
It's hard to.
No, not really. No, it's different than most of the things that we've played so far. Yeah.
It's hard to describe what something is. You really have to
Do you have a
demonstrate.
title for it yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
And you have a song in dancing.
Yeah, we have a tune in dancing. I've got them feeling too good today. Blues is in the show dancing.
That's good. Yeah, I saw that.
Beautiful production.
That was a song that was done in an album we did a few years ago with Peggy Lee called Mirrors.
It was a good album. And she previewed that at the Waldorf Astoria.
That's
I was in
right.
the audience that night. Had terrific material.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
material. How do you work? I've had Sammy Kahn on the program. We've had Jules Stein, Marvin Hamish talking about the process of working. I'm always curious about how a team does it. I mean, do you always do it together, or
No.
No.
We used to. When we started out, I think we did everything. I mean, it was words, music, arrangements, the whole idea of making a record, because that's really what we were doing then, was primarily was writing for records, and the song was like a script for a record. And we did everything practically simultaneously.
He would sit down at the piano and jam, and I would just sort of walk around the room and start yelling something.
Yelling, "You ain't nothing but a hound dog," lyrics like that.
Yeah.
Just screaming, "Wardens of a party in the county jail!" Stuff like that. I mean, just letting it flow out. You didn't sit at a typewriter. Huh?
No. In fact,
He
no.
still can't type.
No. I
You
can
write
barely
by
write.
yelling.
Right.
Now, some of the other songs, they have written so many songs. For example, "Save the Last Dance for Me."
No, we didn't
No,
write
we didn't
that.
write that.
You didn't?
No, we produced
Oh,
that.
you produced that.
Right.
You produced This Magic Moment.
Yes.
On Broadway.
We wrote and
We
produced that.
co-wrote that
That's a
with
good tune. That's been a very
Barry Mann and
durable
Cynthia
song.
Weil.
Yeah.
On Broadway, right?
Yeah.
I mean, George Benson recently.
Yeah.
You sing.
They say the neon lights are bright on Broadway. They say there's always magic in the air. But when you're walking down that street and you ain't had enough to eat, the magic rubs right off and you're nowhere on Broadway.
Did you actually? That is terrific. All good stuff. Did you actually go to Kansas City and stand on a corner to write the song Kansas City?
I was in Kansas once. I was in Wichita, and I was standing on the corner, but I was
12th
not
Street and
writing.
Vine?
No.
Did you meet a pretty little woman there?
No.
None of that
I
stuff.
don't want to go into the story.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. How about Love Potion Number 9? That was a fun song. How did the
That was
lyrics?
for the Clovers.
Yeah, how did the lyrics to that go? Love Potion Number 9.
We did.
We did it at the beginning.
Time
Let's
for
do
the
it again.
show.
Oh, that's
I took my troubles down to Madame Ruth.
Madame Ruth. Who was Madame Ruth?
You know that gypsy with the gold cap too.
Oh, that gypsy with a
Yeah.
gold cap too.
She's
right.
got a storefront at 34th and Vine.
What do you get there?
Selling little bottles of,
Little ones.
yeah, love
Potion.
potion number 9.
Really, really good stuff. Can you just tell us how you got your first song recorded? What the first one was?
The very first record, I believe,
Yeah.
First recording
was
was Real
with the
Ugly
spoon?
Woman.
Real
Real
Ugly
Ugly Woman, which you
yeah.
did.
Jimmy
Okay,
Witherspoon.
remember. Gene Norman was throwing concerts at, he was a disc jockey in L.A., at the Shrine Auditorium.
Yeah.
And he'd heard about us, and he called us and wanted us to write some new material for the acts that were going on. He had Jimmy Witherspoon, I think, and Wynonie Harris, and Little Esther, and the Johnny Otis Band, and Mel Walker, and a number of other people. Roy Hawkins. And I think maybe
Joe Liggins, maybe. I think it was Joe Liggins.
And Lloyd Price.
Lloyd Price. Mr. Personality.
Right. Yeah. And he wanted us to write some tunes, and we wrote a few tunes, and Jimmy Witherspoon did Real Ugly Woman. That was the first recorded song of ours.
Did you know back in those early days that you were as good as it has turned out that you have been? Did you have a sense that you were really good? That you know, some people, I'll meet a lot of people and they'll say, you know, I want to make it, and in their eyes I see the sense that they want to make it, but they doubt themselves. Did you ever doubt yourselves, or did you know pretty much from the beginning that you had hot stuff?
I really don't know. You know, we did what we wanted to do. We did it because we loved that music, and
I don't think
we spent our time. I don't think we thought about it.
I don't think we considered failure, though.
Yeah.
I don't think that was something that was allowable. We just kept trucking, you know.
When the Beatles
we were doing
came
what
in,
we were doing.
Did you feel threatened by the Beatles when they came in? Because
No.
they sort
Oh,
of tilted music, you just
loved this.
No, I liked the little later Beatles. The early stuff, those early records weren't too good.
Well, it's very derivative of
Right.
Chuck
But when
Berry
they came
and
into their own and did, you know, like Sgt. Pepper's,
Rubber
I think
Soul.
that's
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
those are
Excellent
the
stuff.
highlights
White
of the
Album.
60s.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
For me.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break, and let's have a nice hand for these. Think of all the dances you have made to their music. We'll be back right after this.